Anya did not even lift her head. "Go mind your own business. Call me if you need anything," I said. Then I stepped out and pulled the door shut behind me. Evening came quickly. The rain turned into a downpour, the wind howled inside the chimneys, and the old country house groaned like a living thing. My mother went into the kitchen to make dinner. I sat in the living room with a book, but I could not focus. From upstairs, I could hear Anya laughing. She had been playing for almost 3 hours. That was unusual for her usually. She got bored quickly. "Anya! Dinner!" No answer. Only laughter, a little louder now. And footsteps. Light, bare footsteps running back and forth across the floor above me. I went upstairs. The hallway was drowned in shadow. A single bulb flickered overhead, chasing the darkness away for a second, then letting it gather again. Anya's door was half open. I pushed it with my shoulder and stepped inside. Anya was sitting in the corner, right on the floor, her back against the wall. She was holding a doll. But she was not looking at me. She was looking into the mirror, the central one, the biggest one. "What are you doing?" I asked, trying to sound calm. She slowly turned her head. Her eyes were wide, but her smile was too wide, too old, too knowing. "I found a friend," she said. "He lives in there, but he can only come out when I blink." A chill ran down my spine. I looked at the mirror. My reflection was there. But something was wrong. It was not standing where I was standing in the mirror. I was closer to the door. Then I understood. The reflection was repeating my pose from a few seconds earlier, from the moment I had just entered the room. Anya blinked. And in that same instant, the reflection tilted its head slightly to the left as if it were listening. I had not blinked. I stood there, holding my breath. The reflection froze again, but now it was turned a little sideways toward me. "Anya," I said slowly, "come out of the room." "I don't want to," she said. "He's nice. He teaches me symmetry." That was when I noticed the room. Everything had been rearranged. The bed, which had always stood by the wall, was now placed exactly in the center. The mirrors reflected it into a perfect double line. The dolls on the floor were arranged in pairs. Every doll had a twin, turned in the opposite direction. Even the curtains had been drawn, so their folds matched the folds in the reflection. I took a step forward to grab Anya's hand. She jerked away, and I saw that her eyes were closed. She blinked. I blinked too, instinctively. And in that moment, the reflection stepped toward me. It moved closer to the glass, and I saw that it had no pupils, only white eyes. But it was smiling with my smile. "You blinked," Anya said, and her voice sounded far away. "Now he can see you." I backed toward the door. My heart was pounding. I tried to remember what psychologists said about mirrors, suggestion, and fear. But logic was useless now. My reflection had just moved on its own.
"Anya, get out now! I shouted!"
She stood up, but she did not come to me. She walked toward the mirror, and then I noticed that she was blinking in rhythm. Not random, not natural, in rhythm with something. Each time her eyelids fell, the reflection made a tiny movement. It turned its head, lifted its hand, leaned closer. "He wants us to be symmetrical," she said without turning around. "You and him, you have to become the same, then he can come out." I swallowed hard. Then I understood. Her friend was not imaginary. He existed on the other side of the mirror in a reversed world where symmetry was law. I blinked rapidly, trying to break the rhythm, but the reflection was faster than me. Each blink gave it more movement, more freedom. Now it was standing directly in front of the glass, its palms pressed against an invisible barrier. Without thinking, I stepped closer, and I saw something even worse. It was crying. Tears ran down its face, but it was still smiling. Then it raised its right hand and knocked on the glass. "Knock! Knock! Knock! It wants to switch." Anya whispered, "You have to go in there." "No!" I shouted. "I'm not going anywhere!" And I lunged toward her, but she slipped away and ran to the opposite corner where another mirror reflected both of us. I looked at it and felt the blood leave my body. In that mirror, Anya was holding my hand, but in reality, she was 3 meters away. I squeezed my eyes shut, as hard as I could. I thought that if I stopped looking, the nightmare would stop too. But then I heard footsteps, light, bare footsteps, coming closer. "Open your eyes," Anya said. Her voice was right beside me now. "He wants to say hello." I opened my eyes. Anya was standing in front of me, but she was not looking at my face. She was looking past me, at something behind my back. I turned. The central mirror had cracked. A thin spiderweb of fractures spread out from the center. And from the crack, a black oily liquid began to seep. It ran down the glass and dripped onto the floor, leaving shining trails on the wood. Inside the mirror, my reflection was staring at me. But now its face was split by cracks, and it was pushing outward, forcing the glass to bulge. "Symmetry is broken," Anya said, but it was not her voice. It was mine. Older, lower horse. "You blinked at the wrong moment, and now he's through." I grabbed Anya by the shoulders and dragged her towards the door. She did not resist, but her body felt wrong. Too light, almost weightless. We ran into the hallway. I slammed the door behind us and leaned against it, breathing hard. "Anya, are you okay?" I asked. She stood in the dim hallway. Rain hammered the roof. Wind screamed in the attic. I looked at her, and slowly, I realized something was wrong. Her clothes were the same. Her hair was the same. But her face was mine. My eyes, my nose, my mouth. And she smiled with the same smile I saw in the mirror every morning. "Symmetry is broken," she said in my voice. "Now you will stay here, and I will go live your life." I staggered backward. I wanted to scream for my mother, but my throat locked shut. Anya raised her hand and touched her face, and I understood. She was changing skin, changing shape. Every feature shifted. Her face hardened into mine. Her body stretched taller. It was like watching a fast motion metamorphosis. Behind me, inside the room, came the sound of shattering glass. I turned for 1 second, only one, and that was enough. When I looked back, I was standing in front of myself. My exact double, my clothes, my expression, even the scars on my hands. Only the eyes were different. Too pale, almost white. "Run," it said. Then it shoved me in the shoulder. I lost my balance and fell. The bedroom door flew open on its own, and black light poured out of the room. It wrapped around my legs, my arms, my hair. I tried to grab the door frame, but my fingers passed through the wood as if it were fog. My double stood over me in the hallway and smiled with my smile. "Goodbye," he said. "Mom is already calling us to dinner. I'm going." He turned and walked toward the stairs. His steps were heavy, confident, exactly like mine. I lay on the floor upstairs while the black liquid from the mirror room rose over my feet and climbed higher. And I watched him go downstairs. I watched my mother greet him in the kitchen with a smile. I watched him sit at the table and pick up a fork. Behind me, inside the broken mirror, I saw the real Anya. She was crouching among the shards, staring at me with empty white eyes. "You're here now," she said, her voice like crushed glass. "We're friends now. We'll play Symmetry forever." I tried to scream for my mother, but the words caught in my throat and turned into tiny pieces of glass that spilled from my mouth onto the floor. The house around me stopped being a house. It became a mirrored labyrinth. Every surface reflected my face, millions of my faces. And all of them looked at me with accusation. Outside the window, or what only looked like a window, the rain kept falling. But I knew that somewhere, in the real world where I no longer existed, someone else was drinking tea and telling my mother how nice it was that we had gone to the country house. And I stayed here, inside the symmetrical trap. Every time I blink, I see my own reflection, the only one that truly belongs to me, slowly turning away and disappearing into endless mirrored corridors. Now there are only two of us, me and her. We are perfect copies of each other, But which one of us was real? No one knows anymore. Symmetry has been restored. And that means order has won. I close my eyes and count to 10. When I open them, I see myself again, but from the other side of the glass. And I understand. This will never end. Not until someone blinks at the wrong moment. But in this world, no one blinks anymore. We all stare without moving, afraid of the instant when our copy will step forward and take our place. The rain still falls. The house is dark. And only the sound of broken glass reminds us that once we were whole. But wholeness is an illusion. Symmetry is the truth. And now I am part of it. Forever.